Hi guys and welcome to my channel. My name's Caitlin and today I just want to talk about some of the projects I want to get done in 2024. I have got 3 books that are Harry Potter, knitting and crochet that I want to talk about. If you watched any of my previous videos, as you know, I'm still a beginner, so I'm only going to be talking about some of the beginner projects in these books that I want to try out. I'm not going to go into all of the projects, and I'm not going to be sharing any patterns or anything like that from these books. If you wanted to get any patterns from here, you have to just purchase the books. I got these 3 from Amazon, 3 of them for £44, but I understand that some people got these secondhand, and I've seen some people finding them in their local libraries as well. So I mean, obviously that's just dependent on your library whether they have it or not, but I know that there are some books secondhand for cheaper online on World of Books and eBay, but I got these 3 brand new from Amazon. It was 3 for £44 in total, which I think is a fair price for a big collection of patterns like this. But yeah, I just want to get into showing you some of the beginner projects that I'm going to be looking at next year. And again, I'm not showing anybody the patterns, it's just me talking about the projects that I want to do in 2024. And potentially, if I have time, the end of this year. The reason I'm going to say 2024 is because I have a lot of stuff to do this year. I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks in November, and also then when I come back it's nearly December, so it will be Christmas time. I'll be making projects for Christmas. I have already started making some of my projects for Christmas presents, so but it's going to be a mad rush, you can imagine. I'm going to start by showing you the knitting patterns because I haven't really done any crochet projects just yet, so we will circle back to this one. But first of all, I've got these 2 books, Harry Potter Knitting Magic and then Harry Potter Knitting Magic New Patterns from Hogwarts and Beyond. And this one, I believe, includes some patterns from the Fantastic Beasts series, as well as some like extra Harry Potter related patterns that weren't included in this first book. Yeah, I'm really excited to show you what I want to work on. So the first book that we're going to be looking at is the Harry Potter Knitting Magic, and here is our contents page. As you can see, they have a key for the difficulties. We've got 1 lightning bolt for beginners, 2 for easy, 3 for intermediate, 4 for advanced and 5 for complex. I'm specifically going to be looking at the beginner ones. So on the beginner category, we've got the Beauxbaton Academy of Magic capelet, Nagini Larate, I think that says. I've never heard that word before. I suppose it's, I've seen the picture for it. It looks like sort of a choker. Then we've got Hogwarts Mug Cozies and the 7 Horcruxes washcloths. Here we have the Beauxbaton Academy of Magic capelet. I love everything about this picture, it's so pretty. She looks like a little fairy. Anyway, but we're talking about this capelet. I think this is very cute to make, but I don't know where I would personally wear something like this. Again, I'm not going to show you the patterns, but what they also include in the book is the yarn choices that they use, and then at the back of the book they have a yarn guide of where to buy the yarn from. So I did actually look at the yarn for this particular project. I looked at the yarn for all of the beginner ones just so I could have an idea of what prices they were recommending for the yarn in this book, and it's very expensive. Also, some of the yarn on this was discontinued. Obviously this book was released about 3 years ago, I think. So yeah, I can see why a lot of the yarn might be discontinued, but they do however have a yarn substitution page which sort of tells you what sort of yarn you could substitute. I don't know whether I'll make this project or not, to be honest. It's definitely a nice project, but I just can't see myself really wearing it. And here is a photo of the back of the project, and then there's a photo of the project lying down flat. It's definitely very cute, and I can see why it's on the beginners, but it's just maybe something that I wouldn't personally use or wear. The next one is the Nagini Larate. This is how the word is spelt, Larate. I think that's how you say it, but honestly I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. It looks like a sort of choker or something. The wool that they've used is very, very nice. They've got little beads for the eyes. It's definitely a very cute project. I actually already have some wool for this project, so I definitely want to do this one. It looks like something a little bit easy to do, and as a beginner it's not going to take me a huge amount of time. The next beginner project is Hogwarts House mug cozies. I can see again why these are beginner level. They're very basic, very simple to make. I would say you honestly don't even really need a pattern to make this type of thing, but it's nice that they included it in the book for some beginners. I'm probably going to make some of these as Christmas presents for some friends and family, so this is definitely on my to-do list. And then here is them all laying flat. They are very cute. They kind of look like little wrist warmers here. And then the last one is the 7 Horcruxes washcloths. This is another one that I really want to make. I've got some yarn picked out for this, which is cotton yarn because it's a washcloth, and I'm really excited to get onto this project. It looks very simple. It looks like it's simply just a square and then it's knit and purl stitches to make the designs. It looks like something simple but something I've never done before, and especially since I'm not used to really reading patterns, as I don't really use patterns, it's going to be something that will help me get into reading patterns. Here's how they look flat out. You've got obviously Harry there, the ring, Nagini, the diary, the locket, the diadem, and Hufflepuff's cup. The next book is the Harry Potter Knitting Magic New Patterns from Hogwarts and Beyond. And on this contents page you can see the key is different, so they've got 1 lightning bolt for beginner, 2 for intermediate, 3 for advanced. So obviously it follows that there are more beginner level projects in this book. So for beginners we've got Pickett, Harry and Friends dolls, Newt Scamander's scarf, Ron's ear flap hat, Ginny's hat, Hogwarts Quidditch pullover, Tina Goldstein's cloche, and then lastly Hogwarts House fingerless mitts. So for the first one we have Pickett. It's a very small project, so I can see why it is in the beginners, although it does look like you need double pointed needles for this one. So for me, thought of using double pointed needles is very scary because it's something I've never done before, although it could be very easy for all I know. I do think this is very cute, and it does actually genuinely look like Pickett. The next one is the Harry and Friends dolls. These kind of look a little bit weird. I mean, I would like to make them just because I think they do look kind of funny, but yeah, they look a little bit strange. I've seen better knitted and crochet dolls for Harry Potter, but I could easily see myself making these just because they are quite funny. They have a very big picture of Hermione on this side. I think her legs are the size of her head. Then we have Newt Scamander's scarf. This one is a very easy project, although scarves do take a very long time. And then here we have Newt actually wearing the scarf, and the scarf being shown in his briefcase. Next we have Ron's ear flap hat, and this one's a very cute one. One thing I do love about this book as well, that if it's a recreation of a piece that was worn in the films, they show the picture of the actual person wearing it, so that's really cool. Here's another picture of the hat, nice and big. Then we have Ginny's hat. I can't say that I love this one, maybe because it's bright yellow, I'm not sure, but it's a bit of a weird one for me. I just think the whole thing is kind of weird. The strings coming out, and then the fact it's bright yellow, it's really strange. And I know that, again, this is just a recreation of the hat that Ginny actually wore, but it's just a strange one. And here is what it looks like up close. Then we have the Hogwarts Quidditch pullover. I'm surprised that this is in the beginner level because it's a pullover, it's like a jumper, so it probably takes a very long time to make. But that being said, I've never made a jumper, so I really couldn't say whether it was easy to do or not. Either way, this is a very cute jumper. I would definitely wear something like this, and if you were a Harry Potter fan, especially like if you were a Quidditch fan, you definitely want something like this in your wardrobe. And here they are showing Ron wearing the pullover. Then we have the Tina Goldstein cloche. I'm just going to say Tina Goldstein's hat because I really don't know. Here's the actual word. I really don't know what that says. Cloche, cloche, clutch, I don't know. But this is the hat. It's really cute. It doesn't even look knitted, to be honest. That actually looks like it's just made out of felt or something like that. I did at one point want to make this hat, but I read through the pattern and actually it seems, it's not complicated, but it's using like a special type of yarn that you actually have to shrink. Something called like fulling, where you wash the hat and then the fibres bind together, and I'm not really sure, if I'm honest. I mean, people who know what they're doing probably know what I'm trying to explain, but yeah, basically you make the hat and then you do something that causes it to kind of shrink a little bit, to make it actually the right size. That seems like, for me, maybe not so beginner, although again, I have never made anything like this, so I really don't know. And this is the hat up close, and then we've got Tina actually wearing the hat. Next up, we've got the Hogwarts House fingerless mitts. The only thing that's maybe a bit more complex in this is the rib stitch and the colour changes, but they look like a fairly beginner friendly project. And then the last book that we have to look at is the Crochet Wizardry. And if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I haven't really done any crochet videos. I've literally only just learnt to crochet in the last few months. It really still a beginner. I am still a beginner with knitting, but crochet even more so. I'm still just practicing, I suppose, but I really wanted to get this book because I knew that they had a Dobby in there, and also I saw this blanket. I was like, oh my god, I need to make this blanket. Like, I really I need this blanket in my life. The contents page follows a very similar layout to the knitting ones, where you've got the key here, and the project levels are 1 lightning bolt for beginner, 2 for intermediate, and 3 for advanced. We don't have very many beginner projects in this book, so all we have is Hogwarts House scarves and the Burrow blanket. So I mean, there are a whole bunch of other projects in here, obviously. So here are the Hogwarts House scarves. They do have a version of this in the knitting book, which they consider easy. It does look like a fairly basic project, but again, with scarves, they just take a long time. I've never crocheted a scarf, so I really couldn't tell you how long it takes, but when it comes to knitting scarves, it just goes on forever and ever. So I imagine it's really similar with crochet. And the last project that we're looking at today is the Burrow blanket. This is just the cutest blanket. I just wish I had this already in my life. I did look online at the yarn they suggest for this book, and it worked out, if I purchased that particular yarn, that it would cost around 200 and something pounds. I can't remember the exact price, but it was definitely more than 200 pounds worth of yarn, and for me that's just way too much. For me also, it doesn't sit right, obviously, with it being a Burrow blanket. It's supposed to be Weasley inspired, and I really can't see Molly Weasley spending more than 200 pounds to make a blanket. I do love the blanket. As you can see, it's literally made up of basic granny squares, but I suppose it's just the aesthetic of it being Weasley that I really love. And that is it for today's video. If you already have these books, please let me know what patterns you've already tried out and what you would consider to be beginner friendly. I'd love to hear what you guys have made. And in 2024, I'm hoping to get some content out which has Harry Potter knitting and crochet. So if you want to see some of that, then feel free to stick around. Again, I'm not going to be showing people how to do it. I'm not going to be releasing tutorials, showing the patterns, nothing like that. If I do any of these projects on camera, then I will be just doing like a crochet or knitting vlog, showing you what I'm sort of doing, showing you my updates, talking about maybe things I found difficult or that I did wrong, things that I love, just that type of thing really. But yeah, if you want to see anything like that, then feel free to stick around. But that is all I have for today's video, so thank you very much for watching. I hope that I've given you some inspiration to knit or crochet some Harry Potter stuff. I will put a link in the description with all 3 of these books for anybody that wants to buy them from Amazon. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.